Hi guys, Simon here from HobbyKing.com. Today we're actually going to put the HK-390 Racer RC motorbike and we're going to give that a brushless upgrade conversion. Now a lot of people have been asking about it. We're going to strip this thing down, show you the components that we're going to use. So we're going to use a Trackstar 30 amp brushless ESC and a little 370 brushless motor. We'll tear it down, we'll show you the steps involved and then we'll take it out into the track. Alright, the first stage is what we're going to do with this bike is we're obviously just going to take it apart. So we're going to take the fairings off it and we're going to take the crash bars off it so we can get to the components underneath. So the first thing I'll do is I'll actually drop the main belt off, so we'll just be loosening the grub screw off this main drive here so we'll be able to take the motor out. Now there's just two screws that are holding this motor in place, so we just need to take them out so we can slide the motor out. With the two screws removed, we'll be able to just slide this motor out pretty simply. Now the next step is just to take the old ESC out. So what we're doing is we'll be getting a scalpel underneath that and we're just taking that off and then we can start putting the brushless system back in. Now the next step to fully take this electronic speed control out is we're just going to remove the plug from the receiver here. So that will be in channel 2. So we just unplug that and then we can just feed that wire out. The next step and the last step is holding the ESC to the bike is just the on-off switch. So again we're just going to use a scalpel and then take that off. And presto, we have a naked bike. The old brushed motor and the brushed ESC is completely taken off and now it's just going to be a step of putting all the new gear in there. So on the Trackstar ESC, what I have done is converted over to the battery plug. It did come with an XT60. If you're using batteries with an XT60 connection, then you don't need to go through this step. I converted this to an XT30 because the batteries that I will be using will be an XT30 connection, which is nice and small on this bike. And then I have installed already some double-sided tape to the bottom of the ESC and also to the back of the switch. It's a good tip when you're taking off the back of double-sided tape that if you're using a scalpel, you actually use the back end of the scalpel, not the sharp scalpel, and that will actually separate the backing tape without cutting the tape. Now just with the speed control signal wire that we actually poked up through that hole there, we'll just put that back in to the receiver on channel 2. And that's the connection part done. Right, for this little pinion gear, we have a little grub screw, and then this is the hole where the motor shaft goes on. On the motor shaft itself, you can actually see that there's actually a flat section there. Now this is where the pinion needs to sit. If you have the pinion on the rounded section, there's a good chance that the pinion will slip around. So make sure when you're installing it, that it goes onto the flat section. First, to just install it very loosely at the moment. I haven't tightened up the motor screws as well, so I can actually move the motor back and forth. What I'll do is I'll put the belt on now so I can get the alignment of the pinion gear to the spur gear correctly so I won't throw off the belt, and then tighten up the motor. Now the easiest way to put the belt back on these is also put the belt on the smallest spring first, put it on the top of the larger spur gear, and then just roll it back and the belt will directly go onto both gears. This is the section where we're actually going to line up the belt to make sure that it is in line with the spur. And then when I'm happy with that, I'm just going to pinch up the pinion gear. Now that I have the belt on there, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move the motor forward so the belt is on a nice tension, and then just pinch up the motor screws so the motor doesn't stop from moving at the right tension. If you're happy with the belt tension, which I'm not at the moment, so this is actually too loose, I'm just going to back them off and then just move the motor forward again. So I'm much happy with this belt tension. It doesn't need to be super tight, just on a little bit of tension like that is a perfect adjustment for it. Once you're happy with that, you can lock up the motor screws, just check that pinion is still running true to the spur gear, and you're good to go. Now on the connection side of things, all I'm going to be doing is just plugging in these 3 motor wires, the same colour orientation to the ESC wires. So with everything installed, the ESC installed, the signal wires back in the receiver, I've set up the ESC on forward brake. Of course you don't want forward brake reverse or forward reverse, so I've set that up in the included setup instructions that come with the 30 amp ESC, Trackstar ESC, and I've also put about 40% drag brake on the ESC as well, just to slow it up. I might need to change that a little bit later. And the next step is just to reinstall the crash bars, the fairings. The only tool that I've used is a 1.5mm driver. I'm just using the Turnigy driver here. I'll link that in the description as well, as long as the other products. We'll put this together, then we're going to take it down to the track and ready for the 2018 MotoGP season. So here we are back down at the netball courts with the brushless conversion kit on the HK-390. I'm going to give it a bit of a run. So it's still got that really low stability on the bike, but potentially is just a hell of a lot faster now with the brushless conversion on it. And also be kinder to the batteries as well, being a little bit more efficient. Oh! Oh! Look at that tail dragger. So guys, that's the HK-390 with the brushless conversion. I'll link all the products down below in the video description. It's not for everybody. If you do want a little bit more speed out of the bike, then certainly go this. It's going to be a lot quicker, and it does have the potential to wheelie, but also you've got to remember that you can backflip this bike with the amount of power that it's on. But real great fun. The bike is available in all regional warehouses. So that's it for the brushless conversion HK-390. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell for future further updates. And until next time, see you later.